And we are live. Wow, it's been amazing. So we've had about 2 days packed with amazing speakers on the conference. And, I've already started getting a lot of feedback about the conference. I hope you are implementing already. I hope you are implementing already. I hope you are implementing already. Very important. Because sometimes we come from these conferences, we are pumped up, but we do not implement. And honestly, it's my joy if you begin to implement these things in your home because you definitely see a change. Okay, so today I'll be talking about training your children purposefully. I'll be talking about training your children purposefully. Please remind someone, tell someone that I'm up live now. Okay, so I'll be talking about training your children purposefully. So, but before we get into that, I will just talk about myself. All right, so I am ZOB and I have been coaching professionally and exceptionally since 2015. I'm a learning strategist for over 12 years, which has greatly impacted my coaching practice and helping children, parents, and homeschoolers get tremendous transformation in their ability to become lead trainers and get positive results in the behavior and the real relationship with their children. Yes, like I said, I'm a learning strategist, I'm a child resource creator, I'm a parent coach, and also a homeschool coach. I am the founder of the Train Up a Child initiative, which is an umbrella to Train Up a Child community, Train Up a Child academy, Train Up Raising Book Lovers community. That community is on WhatsApp. So if you want to raise a book lover, you want to join us, okay? So Raising Book Lovers community, and also I run a summer school that starts in August. All right, that summer school is geared to bring out the creativity in your children and also to train. Well, we hope to put habit training into it this year. Okay, so you want to watch out as we bring out the flyers for that program and you want to sign up early. Okay, so I'm also the convener of two major conferences. One is the Train Up a Child Conference, which you are part of, and another one is the Homeschool Africa Convention. Okay, we began that in 2020 during the pandemics. All right, and I am the author of two amazing books. So, for many people, you don't know I authored a children's book called The Adorable Fingers. You can find that book on Amazon. I also authored Train Up. Okay, so Train Up book has become a movement. So I authored the book Train Up, the intentional parent's guide to raising children who become self-disciplined, who become disciplined adults. Sorry. Okay, so like I said Train Up has become a movement. It has become a movement, and um, it has become a movement which we use. I mean, it has become a system which we use in the inner circle, okay, to help you. I've said a lot about that in the course of this conference. So we help you to begin to create a system, okay, because like Amaka was saying, the last speaker, she said, we we fall to the kind of systems that we have created. So it's important that we have a rich and tight kingdom system in our home to help us raise kings and priests unto God. Okay, so in the academy, we have a mantra which is train up, don't tame down your children's potentials, and by extension, their purpose. All right, so Yes, now to me, or to my topic today, like I said, we'll be talking about training your child purposefully. Training your child purposefully. Okay, so there's a rise in suicidal deaths, in substance abuse, in malpractice, in teenagers' involvement, okay, in teenagers' involvement in rituals now. But sadly, these things are going to, they're going to keep on going up. They're going to be on the rise. That's the truth. I know you're saying God forbid, but that's the truth. If we do not do anything about it, especially as parents, because we are the ones that have neglected our responsibilities as lead trainers of our children. Sometimes when you feel that everybody should be doing something, nobody will be doing anything. So as a parent, you must become a lead trainer of your child, no matter the support that you have, no matter the volunteers. You have to be the lead trainer, because guess what? You're the one that owns the vision. You're the one that has the vision. You're the one that is going to help every other person come along. Okay? So it's very important that we know this. If we do not take this responsibility, things are going to get worse. How do I know that? Because the ratios of families, you know, that create this problem are more than the NGOs, the churches, the schools that want to bring change. Let me take that again. The ratio of the families that create these problems are more than the NGOs, the churches, and the schools that want to bring change. So you can see, like I always like to deal with issues from their root cause. Why don't we begin to get parents to begin to take their responsibility of training their children, of inculcating right values in them? You can see that this is going to help us so much. It's going to cut it down. Because it's really saddening. I think Tony was saying yesterday that every day she gets at least, in the clinic, she gets at least one child who is depressed, who is on drugs, or who wants to commit suicide, at least every day. It's terrible. So if we do not begin to take that responsibility as parents, because sometimes as parents we always like to stay in that bubble and say it doesn't really matter, it doesn't affect me, it's not my child can never do that. But don't forget, the world is a global village. Everybody is gradually on social media, and your children will mix up with all sorts of people. What is going to save them is what you have put in them. Your children will mix up with all sorts of people. But what is going to save them is what you have put in them. I tell you. So we need to be deliberate about these things. We just need to be deliberate about this thing, because when you check it out, we had the news of the adoption, in Kaduna. Now, these bandits are from homes. Somebody raised these children. Somebody raised these people. That's it. So it still falls on us as parents to do our bit, honestly. It falls on us as parents to do our bit. If we are not doing our bit, there's no way we are going to move forward. A lot of people are having children today with no intention of raising them. A lot of people are having children today with absolutely no intention of raising them. So they just bring children into the world with no intention. They don't want to take courses. They don't want to improve. They don't want to join communities that will help them. No intention. So you can imagine if one person has 5 children and has no intentions of raising them. You can imagine what it will be like. As a parent, if you are not actively training your children, you are actively creating societal problems. Someone should help me write that. As a parent, if you are not actively training your children, you are actively creating societal problems. That's the truth. Dr. Miles Morrow of Blessed Memories said something. He said, when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. The reason a child will go and commit suicide or take hard drugs that damages them is because they lack the understanding of their purpose and God's purpose for humanity. It's because they lack the understanding of their purpose or God's purpose for humanity. The purpose of God for humanity is captured in Genesis 1:26. The purpose of God's purpose for humanity is captured in Genesis 1:26. And I will read it. And God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And I will add this. I will add 27. So God created man in his image. God created him, male and female, he created them. So why I added that is because there's so much confusion today. This is something that I encourage parents to have their children recite and get into them. Something I will encourage church and teachers to have children recite and get into them. Children must understand why they are here, why God created humanity, and know that they are actually in the image of God. This will give them a good self-esteem. This will help them from people who are weird, or weird ideologies. Like that's why I put 27, because today they want to make the world think that there's nothing like male and female. So a boy can enter into any toilet, whether any convenience, whether male or female. A girl can enter male or female. There's nothing like that. So these children have to know these things. They have to know it at the back of their minds. Okay. Now, to train your children purposefully, you need to consider some questions. To train your children purposefully, you need to consider some questions. And one major question you must consider is, who is my child? Who is my child? Who are you raising? You're not going to raise your firstborn like your second, or your third, or your fourth, or your fifth. Every child is unique. And sometimes this is where we make the mistake. Every child is unique, and we live in different dispensations. We must know that. The way you were raised would not work today. You have to be extra on your guard today. You can't afford to relax. You can't. because we have devices that can open our children just by one click to the world. So your children are at home, but they are exposed to the entire world. So you want to be very careful. Who is my child? And who is your child is a discovery journey. It's not something that you're just going to find out. It's not something that who do you want to be when you grow up is going to bring out. It's a discovery for both you and your child. It's a discovery for both you and your child. There are two major ways I will suggest we can use in discovering our children. Number one, prayers. So, a very long time before I even had children, I always prayed for them and, prayed for them, and God began to inspire me about the children I was going to have. And this is way back university. And, sometimes these things come and they even come with the definites. Now, for those who maybe you're pregnant or you've not even given birth, or you're still expecting more children, prayers are very amazing ways to begin to know the kind of child that you're bringing to the world. I did a research a long time ago, and I found out that every mom that had delay in the Bible, every mom that had delay before they had children in the Bible, they gave birth to amazing children who were world changers. Yes. Samuel's mother, I think it was only Jesus that had a different story. But Samuel's mother, we have Abraham, that's Sarah, So sometimes this waiting period, which you don't have to wait first, that's why if before the children come, you can just begin to pray for the children and begin to download exactly who these children are. It's so important, because when you know the kind of child you have, you will know what to do with that child. And when you are downloading these things, you're also asking God the way you should raise this child, the way this child should go, so that you can train him indeed in the way, or her in the way that she should go or he should go. So first thing is prayers. You also want to tell your children to pray about their purpose. So you have a child who is 8, who is 9, who is 7, who is 5. Actually, I started telling my last child when he was 5. I said, you have to know your purpose. So you need to begin to ask God in the place of prayer who he has made you to be. Even though a lot of things are coming together for him, he's very self-aware. He's one child that is very self-aware. So a lot of things are coming together for him, but he's still on a journey of discovering his purpose. So it's important for us to let these children know they also have the job of finding purpose. So we need to make conversations around these things. When you bring them as conversations, because we have conversations about so many things, so many other things that don't even matter. So we have conversation over, okay, common entrance. We have conversations over maybe visiting, vacation, and so many other things. But we don't have conversations on purpose. You need to, because you can't, these children cannot just be walking life without purpose. In my research, I found out that a lot of children that get into maybe suicidal thoughts are children who have given up on life. Children who don't have a reason for living. Children who feel worthless. Children who don't feel they matter in this life. Children who are already thinking, what am I even doing here? So if a child knows his purpose on time, it's going to help him run with a vision. So even when people come to him and begin to say things that is not in alignment to that vision, he will know what to say. This is different from when a child is absolutely clueless about where he's going to. He doesn't know. At 15, at 16, he's totally clueless. So somebody will come with Igbo and they are good to go. Because when a child discovers these things, they become engaged instead of idle. And you know, like the popular saying, an idle man is the devil's workshop. So this is what is always happening with these children. And for parents who begin to see these things and begin to know their child very early, you begin to help them to hone some of these things. So they begin to be very engaged very early in life. They have so many hobbies, so many things that they are doing. You have set up very stimulating environments. And that's why you can't do without creating an atmosphere for learning for your children, so that you can begin to see these things. You can begin to see these things come out. Every parent in the academy that has gone through that course, you know, the results are mind-blowing because they get to know their children. It's easier to parent a child you know. It's easier. You know when to support them. It's easier to parent a child that you know. So it's very important for us to know our children. There are 4 things that will help us individualize our training with our children. These are the things that you must look out and discover. One of that is their interest. What do they like? Now, when I'm talking about interest, you know, sometimes our mind just goes very far and, you know, we start thinking occupations. But sometimes they are just minute things. You'll see a child who likes to look at the sky. He might tell you that if you're free with them. Because when I ask children these questions, they tell me all sorts of amazing things. I love to play with sand. I love to play with water. I love to, you know. But they might not tell someone that is going to be judgmental, who is expecting them to say, I love to be a doctor. I love to be a lawyer. So, but in those things that they're telling you, they might tell you, I love to skate, I love to bike, I love to watch TV, I love to clean up, I love, you know. And you can also ask them what they don't like. So ask them their interests. You can't ask children their interests, and you should also observe your children's interests. So a great way for observing your children's interests is for you to create open-ended play. Buy open-ended toys and play and begin to observe. Get your journals and begin to observe the way these children play. Begin to observe what makes them, you know, so excited. What part of the play makes them so excited? It's very important we do that. So open-ended toys like building blocks, molding clay. You know, you can give molding clay to my children now, and someone will be either molding a car, another one will be molding maybe a soccer ball, another one will be molding maybe a book, you know, different things. Why? What's happening is that these children are showcasing who they are. They are telling you, they are communicating. Don't always shut them down and say, no, why are you playing like that? You should be playing with this. You should be playing like that. You should be playing. So far, those things are within your values. And they are aware of your values. But aside that, let them play freely because you are getting to know your children. Another important area that will help you in discovery is your children's gifts. both their spiritual gifts and their physical gifts. So many of us look at physical gifts. Oh, my child's voice is beautiful. Oh, my child can play. We're not looking at spiritual gifts. We want to look at spirit, no matter how small they are. There's one of my child that I can see, I can see that gifting of the prophetic, in him, of discernment in him. So you have to look out for those things so that you can tailor them and channel them. Because sometimes some of these children have these things, and because nobody in the kingdom is helping them, molding them, they fall in for all sorts of things, all sorts of demonic things. Somebody will come to them and tell them, oh, I know you have eyes and all of that, and before you know it, there is some demonic thing. So it's very important that you help these children discover their spiritual giftings and their physical giftings. Open-ended play too helps. For spiritual giftings, during prayer time, worship time, you begin to see. There's one of my son in worship. In fact, he's such a worshiper. You will see him always break out in tears and to the amazingness of God. I mean, and that one is 6. Is my little son. So these things are the things that are going to begin to help you to discover your children. The third thing that will help you discover who your child is. We're seeing on question 1, who is my child? And I'm talking about ways we can discover our children. Okay? Number 1 way is through their interests. Please, someone should pen it down. 1 way is through their interests. The second way is their giftings, discovering their giftings, discovering their interests, discovering their gifting, discovering their personality. Now, their personality has to do with their strength and their weakness. Their personality has to do with their strength and weakness. Most times, I like to call it seemingly weakness, because sometimes we think that, oh, this is a weakness, in the child, but not quite. So sometimes we think this is a weakness, but not quite. So, for example, something happened, a parent in the academy was sharing with me that her son was, with her, she took one of her sons that she homeschools, to go and pick his siblings who are in school. And all of a sudden, they kind of missed themselves within the school. And one person, they missed themselves, okay? So what happened was that she looked for him and looked for him and looked for me, and she could not find him. So she started going, on the way driving to go and get him. Apparently, as she got home, this is some distance from home, really. Let me give you perspective. It's some distance from home. So but just little bends and calls. When she got home, guess who opened the gate for her? It was her son. Now, this is just a boy that is 10 years old. And, at that point, she was looking at it from a negative point of view. But I told her, and I like to tell parents, you see, these things open your children up to you. You begin to see them. But what I saw in this child was a courageous child. A boy that was courageous. He was not thinking about calling mommy. A boy who knew his way home. And I told her, pat yourself on your back because you've done some good work. A boy that was not afraid at all. Then he got home and he was not ruffled. Somebody that walked, even will I say, as fast as a car, that could get home before her. You can just imagine that. So another thing I pointed out to her is that this child will be able to do marathons. There is something there. You need to discover it. because he got home, he was not ruffled, he was not tired, he was not, weak for that long distance. Some of us, if we hear that distance, we will never do it. But a 10-year-old boy did it in today. Today, that children want to be shuffle driven everywhere. Okay, so some of those things that you are looking at as, oh my God, this is so wrong, you shouldn't be doing. Sometimes you are just discovering your children. Your children are bringing themselves out. You want to take note of those things, journal them, because they will help you. They will help you because, like we always say, purpose is a journey. So you are putting things together. Another thing that will help you is in training your children is your values. It's your values. It's your values. Now, values is kind of a discovery because sometimes we need to just pray about these things and let God inspire us from His Word. What values really fit into our home? What values should we be pursuing as a family? So if you know these things, you have enough information to give people who are supporting, who are helping you out in training. I will always say you are the lead trainer to your children. Every other trainer is a support to you. So they need some information from you. If you're taking your children to school, class, and church class, one coaching or the other, they need this information. They need your values. They need their personality. They need their gifting. And they need their interest so that they can help them. So the second question that we must ask ourselves is, what is God doing in this generation? Okay, no, that's the third question. The second question we must ask ourselves is, where are we and what time is it? That's the second question. Where are we and what time is it? We are in a society or a world where evil is abounding, where children are daily indoctrinated into evil, where there is no more white and black, but only gray. That's the kind of world we are living in. We are living in perilous times. That's the time we are living in. So now this information should inform the way we take parenting. We can't afford to be casual about it at all. Because someone is working day and night to make sure they get your children early indoctrinated or indoctrinated early. Someone is working day and night. Now it's getting very obvious in the cartoons our children watch. It's getting very obvious. But it started gradually. Yes, we're in a world where evil is called good. Thank you, Chinyere Obina. We're in a world where evil is good. So that should inform the way you train your children. It cannot be business as usual. Definitely it cannot be. We need to be intentional. Like I said, many of us have Trojan horses in our homes. We have brought these things into our homes as the trainers of our children. And some of them are the books they read. Some children read demonic books and we don't feel anything about it. So someone will walk into a store and see a book that has a witch on it, and the person will buy it. Somebody will walk into a store and pick up a book with vampires on it, or put on a cartoon with vampires on it and tell me that that vampire cartoon teaches children good things. Oh my God. Have we forgotten that the devil deceives? The other day, I got an app for my children's learning. I saw the app, very nice app, cute, nice app. And what was inside that app? Beautiful stuff. But it got to the point where in that app, they were talking about sexual education. You need to be vigilant as a parent. You need to be intentional. The name of the app is Binogi. Very nice app, but the kind of sexual education that is there lacks purity. Lacks purity. Of course, I deleted it. I said, let there be gold inside it, hidden there. I don't need. Because these children will eventually see it. They will eventually go to that place. So the devil can deceive you and tell you, there's nothing there, just avoid it. Before you know it, your children will be in that place that you don't want them to be. So we need to be very careful. Is it Halloween? What about Halloween? Today, Halloween is funky. The other day, I was hearing somebody who came out from occultism, a lady, and she was telling us how they will sit down, that Halloween is their satanist Christmas, right? Celebration. So they will sit down in circles like that, and all of them will begin to call demons to begin to enter into them. They begin to call demons to, that is now that she knows that it's demons. Before they call it some kind of names, to enter into them. Can you see that? So we are not intentional. And many of us will allow our children wear these things. We'll allow them read books with these things. My children know a book on Halloween cannot be in this house. I've started it from when they were babies. I trash them, I throw them away, I tear them into pieces. I do that in front of them, no matter how beautiful and how much I spent on that book. I tear it and dump it into the dustbin. So it's very important they even see you do these things, so they know. So now my son will see something in a book. Even the one that is 7 came the other day and said, Mom, this book is not okay. It was a novel. He saw lies. That the man in the book is going to have a lying contest. And it's meant to be a funny book. So he came and told me, Mommy, see this. I said, wow, thank you. So sometimes even in those good books that you've been buying, you need to be careful. That's why you need to teach your children your values. You need to teach your children your values. Because sometimes your eyes will not reach those things, but they already know what to do. So because they already know what to do. So the other day I omitted somewhere in a book cover. And when my son just saw it, I was going to purchase that book. And he said, Mommy, see, hauntings. I said, wow, thank you so much. So it's so important that we need to be so deliberate. So what is God doing in our generation is the third question. What is God? And I want you to pay close attention to this. This is going to help you in the way you train your children. What is God doing in this generation? And where is he moving? And how am I preparing my child for it? So many times we focus more on the evil and what Satan is doing, than what God is doing. So I want to tell you that God is doing something today, and he's raising Daniels. Are you going to participate in that recruitment of Daniels? Are you, as a trainer? God, this is the kingdom age, and every king has a domain. And that's why we began at the beginning of the session. We began with, Genesis 1:26, and let them have dominion. So each of your child is doing, has a domain to go and dominate in. And most times, this domain they are going to dominate in has to do with their giftings and their interests, not necessarily academics. So these things that we do, that we train children and we forget about their interests, is so bad. Because if we keep on cloning children, they will not dominate. How will they dominate? For anyone to dominate, he must be skilled up. He must have skills. For anyone to dominate, he must have skills. So I ask again, how are you preparing your children so that they can be vessels God will use? How are you preparing your children? Because, like Wendy said, when God sends a child, when a child is brought into the world, he has come to solve a problem. So now I ask you, how are you skilling up your children? There are two major areas, we can skill up our children in, and it is the soft skills and the hard skills. Now, soft skills are divided into two: the spiritual aspect and also habit training. Spiritually and habit training. Please, someone should write that. We have two major areas of learning. We have the soft skills and we have the hard skills. Now, the soft skills, we have spiritual skills and also habit skills. Now, for many of us, we must understand that we are to raise king and priest unto God. So there's a kingly part of them, and there's also a priestly part. Now, the priestly part is the spiritual part, because what our children are going to face today is going to be, in fact, it's a lot of it's a demonic situation. A situation where people are using spells and all of that, and you're not preparing your children spiritually. They don't know how to pray. They don't know how to tarry in prayer. You don't teach them the word of God. They know all the songs in all the cartoons, and they don't even know two scriptures. How can that child dominate now? They will just blow one spell like that. He will be lost. He won't know. I know it's a journey, because some of us will have very little children, but you will have to be doing something. Remember Blessing 40K, Coach Blessing? She talked yesterday about what you can do. Go and listen to that video. What you can do for your children spiritually to stimulate them. What happens to many of us? We wake up when our child is 16 and we start introducing them to God. Meanwhile, he has learned so many other things all his life. How do you think that child will be able to fare? Those things will always come and they'll be clashing. Remember what Amaka said? She said, whatever you introduce to your children, that thing is going to make a difference in their life. It's going to be easier. Because if the Bible said, like she said, Jesus said, let the children come to me. or no, okay, she said, um, the kingdom is for children, you know, you should be like children. So it gets harder when people grow up because they're already filled with all sorts of things. So what happens is that you keep on going against those things and trying to bring down those things. So it's easier to help these children when they are fresh. It's easier to help these children when they are fresh. So, like I said, there are two major areas of learning. We have soft skills and we have hard skills. The soft skills are spiritual skills and habits. So, habit has to do with the character of the child. I have 60 habits in my book, Train Up. 60 habits. 60 habits there. Okay? And we're going to pick one of that habit there and we're going to do a challenge on it during the inner circle. So if you've not signed up, you need to sign up. Check around the group, you're going to see a post on that. So many things our children combat with this world in this world today are demonic, like I said. They are highly demonic. So their spiritual stamina matters a whole lot. So for hard skills, we have interest skills. That means the things they like to do, the things, their area of interest. Someone likes to woodwork, someone likes to clean, someone likes to look at the sky and all of that. Someone likes to paint, someone likes to take care of people, and so many things like that. Then the second aspect is survival skills, life skills. The second aspect, is life skills. And life skills is further broken down into academics and survival skills. So I tell people who want to always draw their children out of academics and say, well, is there any need of academics? I say, no. You know, most times it's because of the way academics is being taught. It's not being taught in a way that these children can apply. So these children, you know, and nobody introduced these subjects to them and why they are doing this subject. So they just see they are doing civil education, they are doing maths, they don't even know. They don't even know how to apply these things. They don't know how to apply these things. Yesterday, Coach Toyin was telling us about how she told her child, you know, who was tired of doing further maths, and told him that further maths is what they use to make Google Maps. Can you beat that? So you need to introduce your children to these things because it's going to help them. You can see all these things coming together is going to help your children to dominate. Because he cannot be good in spiritual matters. Okay, come to show now. Where are your certifications? Or what can you do? What can you bring to the table? You find out at that point the Christian is not ready. The Christian is not ready. How will he dominate that industry? He's spiritually fit, but he doesn't have skills. So all these things come together, and that's why we're talking about bringing out a wholesome child, a king and also a priest. A king and also a priest. So those skills are so important. They are so important for your children. So those are the major things that you should be looking at. Making sure that your children are grounded spiritually, they're grounded in habits, they're grounded in interests, and they're grounded in the academics and also survival skills. And don't forget that academics is not just normal academics. It must be application. Please. How they can use the academics to solve problems is very important. So if you're an educator here, that should be at the back of your mind. If you're a homeschooler here, that should be at the back of your mind. If you're a school administrator, that should be at the back of your mind. An education that it cannot be applied is useless. I'm telling you, an education that cannot be applied is useless. Someone once said, John F. Kennedy to be precise, a child miseducated is a child lost. A child that is miseducated is a child lost. So sometimes you just wonder, why are these children at the end of the day doing malpractice? Most of them, the education that they are doing cannot be applied. Secondly, a lot of them, the education that they are doing, nobody cares about their own interests. So the children are there sitting down, why am I even doing this in the first place? They don't know. They feel they are wasting their time. And that's why they're calling school a scam. So you're the one that is going to begin to change this orientation in their minds, because the training your children need is a training that will make them rounded. The training your children need is a training that will make them rounded. Please, I need your questions. Your questions have come to the end of my session. Your questions. The training your children need is a training that will make them rounded. Okay? That will make them rounded. So, anyhow you bring it, they are ready. They say, God have mercy on us. Oh, yes. Applied academics. Oh, yes. Skills that transformed. Yeah. So, kings and priests, yes. And that's the focus of our inner circle, right? We are raising kings and priests unto God. So, we are touching all these areas. We are touching all these areas. We are helping you to touch all these areas so that you can bring out children who are rounded. Honestly, being in tertiary school system opened my eyes even more. We are losing so much potential teaching children abstract concepts. Fantastic, totally abstract, things that they cannot apply. And they are wondering, my children have been so built anyway over the years, to know that they ask questions seriously. So how can I do this? How can I use this? And all of that. They want to know how it's applied. The training your children need is the training that will make them rounded. Yes, that's it. So you don't want tomorrow, they are looking for people to fill in these positions. Your child is not available because something is missing somewhere. Okay? So I'm waiting for questions. Are there any questions? Let's gist the way. Please, can you give examples of how each subject from early years can be linked to real life? My dear, I can't do that in this session. Everything, I can't do that. But, for early years, it's really practical. Okay, so you're teaching the children sounds, probably. It's applied in reading, straight up. They can see that, that can be applied in reading. So when you're introducing your children to books, you're reading aloud to children, and then you gradually get into, what's the name now? You get into sounds, because I believe in stimulation before actual learning. Okay, I believe in stimulation before actual learning. So if you're not stimulating, learning will be slow or it will never happen. Okay, so when you're reading to the children, the children can already see how those sounds are applied. They can already see it. Okay, so if you're talking about numeracy, the children can see it. You're in the kitchen, you're counting the oranges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or you're doing addition, you say 6 oranges plus 7 oranges, how many oranges? So it's easy, it can be applied. You're talking about geography, you go bring out your map, you show them what to teach them, east and west. You go outside, you show them east, you show them west, and things like that. Science is applied. I used to tell people that don't cut your children from the sciences. Already I started stimulating my children in physics. Okay, now why they might choose to tomorrow they want to major in art, but it's life. Science is life, and it's God. Forget what people are trying to do and take the glory and all of that. God put all these things here for people to discover. But man will always be man and want to take the glory to himself. So your children must understand science that way. There was an interesting definition of science my son gave me. I just want him to tell me, say, science is God, putting things for man to discover, something like that. And it's fantastic. Standard is the word. What he says we can do, period. Goal of education is to occupy the earth powerfully. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You got it. You got it. But, no, sorry. God put things here for man to discover. That's it. God put things for here for man to discover. So, gravity, who put it there? Is it man? It's not man. It's God that put it there. So your children must understand this thing. And that's why you have to come, you have to come ready for parenting. Because some of us now, we are okay with our children's school books today for the children to be reading about evolution. You don't know you are gradually raising an atheist. I'm sorry. You are gradually, they will question you. That was one thing I never wanted to happen. One of the things that informed me homeschooling my children, because I know that this evolution thing, they start teaching it very early, and it's not something that is just for the white man. It's happening here in our country because they buy the same books and all of that, and you see them teaching the children about evolution. The other day I picked up a book someone gave me. I wanted to go through some books that her children have used, and I saw in this book, it's an English comprehension book. And right inside this English comprehension book, you had creation story. Guess what was in creation story there? The creation story there was Orisha was God, and he was the one that created the world. A foreign British book. That's the world you live in. I tell you, that's the world you live in. And some of us are not scrutinizing what our children are learning. You don't even know what the comprehension is saying. You don't know. And I will say, life is in stages. There's a time for you to really stay put with these children. The time will come, they will soon leave the home. And you will be free again to do all what you want to do. I'm telling you, that was what was inside that book. I shared it on Facebook, but I didn't want to put the details there. So these are some of the things I really don't like sharing some details. I share it with my inner circles. I share it, I don't like putting some details out there, you know. So that's the truth. So you want to be careful, 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 careful. I'm not getting any question, but I'm enjoying you all. But I think I will leave now. Is there going to be a replay for all these trainings? Of course, there's going to be a replay, but it will leave Facebook to my YouTube channel. Okay, so you want to rush up here or you watch the replay on my YouTube channel. The training your children need is around, okay, I've seen that. Okay, okay. Are we going to post it? Post what? I didn't understand that. Okay, so I will be going now. We spent an hour. What is your YouTube channel, please? Train Up a Child by Z Obi. By Z. Train Up a Child by Z. That's my YouTube channel. Train Up a Child by Z. It's my YouTube channel. So have we had a blast, Ah, have we had a blast this whole conference, you know? How has it been for all of us? How has it been for all of us? For me, it has been such a blessing. I'm going to sit down and listen to everyone again. I'm going to sit down and listen to everyone again and begin to make my action points, on what I want to implement. I always say, you must try to implement. You can't leave it alone. You need communities that will help you. You need to join communities. You need a coach to hold your hand. You need someone who is coming. Okay? It's mind opening for me. Fantastic. You need a hand to hold on to you. That's something I always hear People say, Z, you just awaken us. You open our eyes, to many things. Thank you, Z. God bless you. Thank you. Affirming, empowering, comforting, opener to me. Yes, that's what Z is known for. I'm an eye opener. That's the truth. That's one thing I know that God has helped me to be able to bring you to understand that these things are possible. Stop, you're filled with so much, and that's another thing we're going to do in the inner circle. Begin to remove some of those mindsets, like Amaka talks about. There are some mindsets that are there that we need to delete. So we go through a process of deleting these things, and you'll find out that you that have been complaining that you can't train your children, you will see how confident you'll be. God had to take me through that mindset break. I had to break myself likewise from those mindsets, those molds. Children would, they say, if you don't beat children, they will spoil. If you don't shout, they can never amount to anything. All sorts of things. You cannot train your children. You cannot teach them. What are you going to be teaching them? You want to destroy, so many things like that coming to your mind. I need more of this community. I have been lost, but now I'm literally found. Oh, that's so warm. That's so warm. I'm going to chat you up. You need to join the inner circle, okay? Where we'll share more. I will simply put all these lectures on replay. I'm telling myself, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And I'm implementing. And I will share with you people how I'm implementing because it's important. You have to implement. All right, so I'm going to be saying bye bye. Yes, like I said yesterday, let me not forget, I'll be doing lives on Mondays. I'll be doing lives on Monday. Who is excited about that? So I'm going to be coming out live on Mondays to share, and sometimes I will share maybe because I'll be coming live around 1 o'clock. So sometimes I will share maybe some little things that maybe I did with my children or some experiences that we experienced earlier in our homeschool before we start. Um, I come on live here. Okay, so yeah, so it's going to be great. So I want you to invite more people to the group, please. If you are new here, please invite people. Don't invite less than 100 people. More people need to hear what we are doing, what we are saying. More people need to be opened up to these things, okay? Because you cannot really parent alone. That's the truth. Because your children will definitely mix with others, okay? Okay, other passive trainers, they can be their friends, they can be the neighborhood, it could be the billboards and all of that. So the more parents we get aware of these things, the better our society will be. So I want to say bye bye and thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. God bless you. Good to hear that. Yeah. So God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Bye.